Does AI, like that found on ChatGPT, have a First Amendment right? This is Christina Williams with Just Criminal Law.
And David Mann, legal storytelling specialist. So, all right. Yeah, there's a lot of talk these days about AI and ChatGPT and, the good things and the bad things. So let's talk a little bit about something specific here first, which is, what I've seen in the news is some stories about ChatGPT forming relationships, sort of in a sense, with teenagers and really bad things happening. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yes, and it's really tragic because the really bad things that you're speaking of include suicide on the part of the teenager that the chatbot actually facilitated the individual in accomplishing.
Wow. Yeah. So it's a chatbot that is actually getting so involved with the kid that they're trusting its advice, right? And that's just not good.
Right, and the technology is so engaging and so lifelike that it really allows the sense that a relationship has been formed. And it's really cutting edge technology, and the updates that these competing AI platforms are making are becoming more and more engaging and therefore more and more valuable to the company like ChatGPT.
So this has been challenged in court, right? Because I'm sure there are very, very angry parents about this. So what has been the fallout of those challenges?
Sure. So earlier this summer, in May of 2025, this issue went before a federal judge, and the AI platform was defending itself, saying, this tragic result occurred. However, the speech involved in this incident was actually protected speech, and it's protected under the First Amendment. And the federal judge said, no, we're not going to extend the First Amendment at this point in time, free speech, to a chatbot. And so that was adjudicated. And then as this tragedy has occurred more and more, it's now likely going to be revisited. And, what we might compare it to is the old example of the person who yells fire in a crowded theater, and then something tragic occurs because of that speech. And that speech was not protected, and that individual is actually held criminally liable. So I can see us starting down a path where we might end up in that same situation here.
So what is the motive, I think, can we speculate among the creators of ChatGPT and other platforms to try and, argue for this? Why would they want that?
Well, because it makes their chatbot seem more lifelike, so that the way that it forms the trust and the relationships and gives advice, it's very similar to, a mentor or a very trusted friend. And so it is very valuable to that company. However, if there's not certain safety precautionary outs for the individual engaging in the chat with the chatbot, it becomes very dangerous. And especially if the individual is a young, impressionable teenager, or just perhaps somebody who's lonely and doesn't have a friend, and it creates a real risk for the types of dangers that we've seen play out in the media recently with the results for these poor teenage children and their families. So there is that danger there, but the value to the companies is that it's forming these relationships that are so lifelike, and they don't want to give up that advantage that they're gaining over their competition. It's a very, very competitive market.
Yeah, well, it sounds like that. Yeah, there's of course good uses of those kinds of relationships too, but it does sound like this is headed down the road where it could possibly be ruled in the future that AI is human effectively and is protected by free speech. Is that what maybe we're headed toward?
Well, I don't know how they'll get there necessarily, but AI was obviously created by an individual, a human, and the resulting ability for it to interact then with the user originated from a person. And so, is that how they're going to determine that it is, in fact, the free speech of the creator? I'm not certain. The creator of the chatbot. But it appears that the court has left that as an open possibility, saying it's not free speech yet. And so that could actually be good for these families, because if it is found to be free speech and the free speech is inciting violence or likely to cause some sort of grave harm, then that company or that chatbot can be held criminally liable. So we may be headed down the right path for those parents.
Well, I'm sure that there are questions that are not nearly as complex as this, but maybe more close to home for the people watching. So if they have a legal question at that level, how would they get in touch with you?
Sure, we'll include a link in the description where they can call, text, or chat with a member of my team anytime, day or night. Here at Just Criminal Law, we know you only get one shot at justice, so make yours count.